People, Deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe on this Friday evening. Now, I wanted to take a little break, at least until Saturday, but we've got videos to make now. Aouar has been and gone, people. I don't want to keep talking about this. It is what it is. I have small hope we'll revisit it in the summer, because I don't think January is attainable. But I think it's gone, you know, whether it's Ceballos, whether that's, you know, Yari Vestishin. I know they're different profiles of midfielders, but we need to look at other ways of solving our creativity. Personally, I think the Aouar boat is gone, you know. We'll get onto it, but apparently he was very open and had his heart set on joining our club. But I look at it as this, you know, a lot of talk of signing him in January, and signings, big boy signings, have been done in January. We bought Aubameyang, but if we look at it, you know, Aouar had a decent performance. Literally, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. I think it was yesterday for France. He's trying to get in that French side. As good as he is, he's probably someone you'd say right now is on the balance of that side, and that you can see him getting in, you could see him missing out, because, and that's through no criticism of Aouar. You know how France collectively over bare positions got sick guys, you know, and he wants to go to the Euros. So if you're making inroads in the national team, if you're doing that, would you want to, and obviously I keep saying 6 months because I keep thinking it's August, but it's only 2.5 months away. Would you want to risk moving mid-season, people? Say you're really excelling at Lyon, you're doing what you need to do in the champs, you know, you're climbing the league table, which has been a mixed one for them. You're doing your thing, you're central, you're playing well. You're not going to want to risk not going to the Euros and mess. Not even that. Footballers, you know, when you're doing, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You don't want to do that. You know, he might very much want to leave at the end of the season, but new manager, you know, he probably knows what Arteta's on, but new manager, new tactics, new league, off the field things. It's too much to consider in January. And obviously Lyon, would they want to lose their man mid-season? If so, Arsenal might have to overpay. Of course I'd love him, but it is what it is in that regards. I think you have to wait till the summer. And even that being said, you know, let's say he has a good season, which I think is the best thing. You know, get your head down, have a good season with the Euros in place. You play well, you'll get your move either before or just after the Euros. You know, it will happen, and that obviously drives. If he has a better season than last year, which was disappointing for him in Lyon, the asking price has gone up. Again, don't know how the footballing landscape is going to change, but you'd imagine the Juventuses, the Real Madrids, the teams that are linked with him will have finances or be open to. You know, Madrid, it seems that based on reports, Camavinga and Mbappe are the ones, so Aouar might be left alone, and Juventus have other targets in mind for both this season and for next year, so we'll have to see. I hope it does happen, but according to ESPN and Julian Laurent's people, and again, you know, journalists like to add their own take. I'm not getting at the credibility of Laurent's or ESPN, because they probably got better context than me or know more than me. But again, we all know, until I hear this out of the horse's mouth, until I hear this from someone directly connected with Arsenal or Lyon or Aouar, it's a bit of wasp. But apparently, Aouar's proposed move to Arsenal collapsed this summer, with the player's agent largely to blame. Brahim Aouar asked for a large commission for his brother to sign for Arsenal. He had his heart set out on a move to Arsenal, but the club could not agree terms. Now again, that might be true, and again, on one hand he might have to blame his brother, but on the other hand, you know, playing devil's advocate, if you see that your money talks, and money, you know, money can cause friction between family members, and money can make man act illogical, but that's your brother. I'm going to assume he's his agent because he, you know, he's always looked out for him. He's always had his best interest. If you could see, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an Arsenal fan, but let's be honest, the one thing Arsenal have over Madrid and Juventus, if anything, is that, you know, we're less likely to sign other star players or man of that potential or that ilk. So he could stay here for a couple of years and play and then go off and do those things, people. You know, if you see a position like that where you could use, as much as I don't agree with it, you know, for French players, the pull to Arsenal is obviously amazing, and historically Arsenal have achieved some stuff. Obviously, you know, the development platform, playing games, you know, taking those little steps. You go from Lyon to Arsenal and then the big boys. He can go to the big boys, but are you in your full capacity, both in not just your technical ability at your full level, mentally, you know, off the field? Because there's so much that goes into playing for them teams. So if I look at my young brother, or assuming it's his younger brother in his early 20s, you see that Arsenal could be used as a step. You see that Arsenal, he's got his heart set on it anyways. You see that Arsenal could be a good place for his development, regardless of the Champions League and stuff. You know, would you not calm it down and say, like, cool, I know I want mad commission, but this is what my brother wants, this is what he's got his heart set on, sort of thing. So I'm not too sure if that heart set thing is true or not, because again, even Aouar, you might tell your brother, stop acting up Like, I know you want to make your money, but stop acting up. I'm a professional footballer, probably going to get a better contract at Arsenal. You know, you don't need that commission. I will nice you. We'll sort it out later. You know, I'll do several things for you. So I'm not too sure how valid that claim is, people. Because if you really want something to think about it, if I have an older brother or whatever, and I want to sign for this club, and he's saying this and that, I'm going to force the issue. Or if my older brother cares about me like that, he's going to say boom. When we could look at this a third way and say, you know what, Aouar might have been open to it, his brother might have been sceptical, or they both might have been sceptical. And you know what? And again, this might I'm a bit of make belief, but way more wages than we could have expected. And obviously a hefty signing on and commission to make it worth it, sort of thing. I'm not too sure why this is, but apparently a figure of 10 million has been circulated among reports in France, but that hasn't been confirmed. Brahim Aouar didn't respond when asked for comment. Nevertheless, it seems negotiations with Aouar's camp were difficult, and that's true. And also in addition, you know, Ulas is a difficult negotiator. In hindsight, you know, maybe we looked a bit too desperate in the market. Maybe we kind of peed off Leon and divid a bit too much. Maybe if we got some outgoings, we could have afforded to maybe give 10 million in agent fees, which I don't think Arsenal would have done, or maybe give Leon a bit more, or whatever, you know, because we hear a variety of reasons. We hear everything was tied up, and then one thing changed. We hear it was never close. We hear Ulas made sure it didn't happen. We heard Aouar wasn't convinced, and we hear he's convinced. Now there's the agents things. We'll never know until he opens his mouth. Aouar himself has said, people, well, sources, before I get into that, sources told ESPN that Aouar wanted to leave Lyon last summer, but was persuaded to stay. Now, I remember hearing about that. This time around, he had his heart set on a move to Arsenal, but the club could not agree terms. So again, you're hoping we can revisit that. We hope if there's been talks between Aouar and Arteta, he doesn't forget what's been said. But I think that one day is gone. But Aouar himself, he's never going to come out and say the truth, whether he wanted to stay or not. And there's a bit of PR. But for what it's worth, the man himself has said, I am in the headspace to have a great season with my club and get back the points that we have lost. Disappointed, I am the opposite. I am at home in the club that I love with my friends and family. And of course, you know, Leon, you came through the academy. You've been presented a good platform to the point where them playing you's got you in the French team. You can never forget that. But he's hardly going to come out and say he wanted to go to Arsenal or whatever and he's disappointed. Or he's not going to say it then, innit? So we'll have to see. Away from that though, people, and you've also apparently heard Arteta, you know, we know Saliba's going out on loan, but ESPN also said Arteta and his backroom staff believe, in relation to Saliba, believe the 19-year-old needs more time to develop despite impressing in Liga. They would like to see the Frenchman improve in defending set pieces and mature in style, notably avoiding diving into tackles, which is fair enough. But interestingly, you know, William Saliba did not commit a single foul from an attempted tackle in Liga last season. So again, stats might not tell all of the context, but you know, it depends what you're looking at. It you have to question the validity of ESPN's sources, allegedly. You know, you have to question the context of stats. We'll never know. We just have to assume that the level we thought he was going to arrive at, he's not there, and that's, you know, setbacks are part of it. You go to the Championship, many people will take a dim view that it's not the top league, so it's irrelevant. I share some of your concerns. You play in the top league against world-class, top-class individuals. You've answered more questions. Obviously, top-level experience. If you went to a Rennes, you're playing in Liga and you're playing in Champions League football. And obviously, excelling in the champs, while it's admirable and difficult, it's a different ballgame in the Premier League. But he needs minutes. He needs stability, he needs confidence. I get that. I think there's a lot for him to learn in the Championship. There's plenty of street smart strikers that will turn him over physically, that might be quicker than him. Don't look at it from a dim view in that it's the Championship, you know. Again, these might not be the glamorous names, but you've got Troy Deeney, you know, very street smart, won't give you an inch. You've got Glenn Murray, won't see him for 89 minutes, will bag in the 90th. You've got little strikers around, in and around. Technically, you've still got Josh King at Bournemouth if he plays Bournemouth. You've got some good little players around in and around the Championship, people. So there are some lessons for him to learn. While my first choice would obviously be him staying, rotation option and whatnot. Second choice would be either going to the Germanys, staying in the Prem, or going on loan back to his homeland in France. My third choice would be the Championship, but there are some benefits, you know. If he can go there, play some games for 2.5 months, he might be recalled. My thing is, you know, he probably goes there and he stays to the end of the season. We don't need him for this. I believe we need him for for this season, but based on what the club is saying, we don't need him for this season. We've got our centre halves, you know. If Holding didn't have this little bit of form at the beginning, you know, if we didn't get Gabriel, or there was an injury elsewhere, there might be things that tip the balance. But we've got a lot of men that can fill in these centre half positions, whether they're good or not, especially if we play a back three. So we've probably said, while I would play you ahead of Socrates and Mustafi, them man, they are not going to play significantly. I'm only going to use them if there's injury. So you go out on loan. The landscape is going to change with your experience and building on your 32 appearances you've made for Saint Etienne. You know, the landscape is going to change in defence. David Luiz is his guy. He could very well sign an extension if there's not an option, but he's contracted until 2021, as is Socrates, as is Mustafi. Decisions will probably have to be made on Mavropanos, on Chambers, etc. You know, Marie, Saliba and Gabriel, the only ones I'd say are going to be here in the medium term, or we know for definite of sorts, unless Marie does a madness. You know, I would like to keep Holding, but he's always linked with moves. So go out, get some experience, come back and really challenge, and we really get this partnership going, you know, with you and Gabriel. You know, you're hoping this year Gabriel gets fully up to speed. You know, he's not going to be the finished article himself. He's still raw. You know, he's 22. There's still a lot he's going to learn. You already see Gabriel, these underhit passes he plays occasionally. One day he's going to play that and make a mistake or not be switched on. But what we just need is inroads to becoming that next level, or improving, or just signs of improvement. That's all. Saliba isn't going to, same way him staying at Saint Etienne, even if Arsenal deemed it banged, or just going there last year, he wasn't going to return some super player. He's not going to go to the Championship and return, you know, as some mini Thiago Silva in his prime. It's not going to happen. He gets more experience, he gets more street smart, he gets more awareness. Being a centre half, you have to think. It's not always about the passes and the mad tackles and all of these sort of things, which he has the capacity and the physical and technical capabilities to do, as well as the capacity. What he needs to do is think all the time. You know, set pieces, that tells me you're always caught flat-footed, which can be the case. I can't lie. When I just read that, I could see some games where he's done that. I do think it's reaching, but you know, it is what it is in that regards, people. So we'll have to see what exactly is the case with him, people. Away from that, Danny Ceballos has revealed that Real Madrid asked him to stay at the club this season rather than return to England on loan. You know, he's only started 3 or 4 games under Zidane. Like I said, with, you know, Guendouzi has slim hopes of playing for France, but he's spoken of that all the Olympics. He needs to play. I spoke on Aouar needs to play to have any chance of getting selected for the French side, or keeping his place. You know, even Giroud, you can imagine, depending on what happens with Chelsea, Giroud probably be a man that leaves in January to go somewhere. Ceballos has the Olympics and or potentially the Euros in 2021, or either one, you know. To do that or get into that or maintain his spot in the French side, man said France, Spanish side, he needs to play. Also, to keep developing, he needs to play. You know, he really, I'd say towards the tail end of last year, and then, you know, the end of the season, towards the end of the season and this season, there's been some real development in this game. I'm seeing when I first saw him at Arsenal, I knew you was a good footballer. You showed me you're a technical footballer, but you was naive. You know, he's losing the ball on the edge of his area. He's playing in areas that can't affect the game. I wanted the game to run through him a bit more. Now he's done a complete turnaround, and I'm seeing that he's relishing the ball a bit more. He's showing a tiny bit more bravery in relation to defending. He's putting himself around. He's becoming I don't want to say the complete midfielder, but the complete midfielder. He's developing, becoming very mature, and I would love Arsenal to make him permanently. The only thing I want from Ceballos now is, can you take more of an onus on the game when you see we can't break the lines? Can you be the guy to do it? And obviously more goals and assists. But you know, he needs to even away from his French side, playing for France and keep saying France, playing for Spain and all of these sort of things. You know, forget all of that. Just to keep developing as a player, you need to play minutes. And yeah, you might have got chances with Madrid. They ain't signed no one, but Zidane don't. In his heart, I don't think Zidane favours him. You know, so that tells you it all. So I can't blame him for wanting to come back to Arsenal. But apparently, he said, I spoke with Madrid to say that Mikel Arteta wanted me to come back. They asked me to wait, but I was clear that I wanted to return to my club where I'd found my best level. And I don't know if my club is exactly what he said, but this is what the Google Translate thing says, or not Google Translate, what I've copied from the Spanish article in English. So if he said my club, I think that tells you everything. I think that tells you I'd be a bit concerning. You know, can we get him done on a permanent soon? All I can take from that is, obviously I want players that are here permanently, but he deems that Arteta is the best coach for him to develop. Arsenal is the best platform to him to develop as a player and realise his ambitions, at least, whether that's, you know, playing, going back to Madrid a stronger player, or getting in the French, man keeps saying France, Spanish side to go to the Euros. I don't know. I don't know if he he might even want to just help Arsenal, but naturally, you're going from Zidane, you don't even need to it's irrelevant that it's Ceballos or Madrid or Arsenal. You got to just look at it as a footballer, people. If you're playing Sunday League, you play for one team. My man's not you're training. That manager's not using you. You don't really feel the love, but this other manager's telling you you're the best friend since sliced bread. He's trying to improve you. You like his training methods. He's playing you. You're going to want to stay and play for his team, innit? Because you're going to play more games and develop and be more happier. He cares more about you. At least that's what we see at base level. This is common sense. So I don't blame Ceballos for this. He also said, you sit down to appreciate that the Euros and the Olympics are coming, and you know that you have to play an important role in my national team. With Mikel, I found happiness as a player and as a person, and that is key for apologies for kicking the screen, people. Like he said, he's found happiness as a player because he's playing, and as a person, when you're not playing, it affects your personal life. So now that he's playing, you're turning up to work with a smile on your face, and it's testament to Arteta. And he made 43 appearances last year, despite not all of them being 90 and it being a bit tough and whatnot. So I can't fault him, if that's what he wants to do. But, people, we've spoken about Saliba, we've touched on this Aouar business allegedly, and we've ended it with Ceballos. So, on that note, that's all I have to speak about, people. Please get in the comments and say your own opinions. Make sure you hit the like button, people. Every like makes me score higher up in the YouTube algorithm, which means more people can see it, which means more subscribers, which means DG Nation keeps growing, people. I can't do it without you. It doesn't cost a penny. Literally just have to like. If you're not subscribed, you need to hit that subscription button. Make sure you've all got your notification bells on, because we bring out some good content around these sides. More importantly than that, stay safe, and we'll be back again, people. On that note, DG.